Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Talk Lucy channel, your daily English practice podcast. I am Lucy.
And I'm Tom. Thanks for being here today.
If you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our daily episodes. So, Tom, I saw you earlier on that video call. You looked really tired. Are you okay?
Yeah, I had a client call at 8 a.m., and I went to bed at 2 a.m. because I was finishing a design project. When my camera turned on, I could see my own face in the little corner of the screen. I looked at it and thought, wow, I look terrible.
Oh no.
Then the client said, "You seem a little tired today, Tom. Is everything okay?" At that moment, I thought, should I tell her the truth? Should I say that I was playing PS5 until midnight and then working until 2 a.m.? Or should I just smile and say, "I'm great. I'm just excited to get started"? But I could see her face. She didn't believe me. It appeared that she knew I was lying. My eyes were puffy, my hair was a complete mess, and there was even a coffee stain on my shirt. I was just hoping the camera couldn't see it.
Did you notice what just happened?
What do you mean?
You used 3 different words to describe the same situation. You said, "I look terrible." That was about what you saw in the mirror. Then the client said, "You seem tired today, Tom. Is everything okay?" That was about what she sensed from you. And then you said, "It appeared that she knew." That was the impression you got from her reaction. 3 words, look, seem, and appear, but each one shows a slightly different angle.
Wait, those words are actually different? I always thought look, seem, and appear basically meant the same thing.
They are similar, but each one has a slightly different feeling, and that's exactly what we're talking about in today's episode. Today, we'll learn how to use look, seem, and appear in everyday English.
Oh, this is a good topic. Because honestly, I usually use those words randomly.
Don't worry, a lot of people do that. But once you understand the pattern, choosing the right word becomes natural. And it's actually simpler than it sounds.
All right, where should we start?
Let's start with look. It's the most common and the most physical one. Look is about what you can see with your eyes. It's visual. It describes appearance, the surface, the outside, what is visible.
So look is about the eyes.
Exactly. For example, you look tired. I can see it. I see the dark circles, the red eyes, the messy hair. Another example, she looks happy. I can see her smiling. Her eyes are bright. Or, that cake looks delicious. My eyes are telling me that the cake is probably going to taste amazing.
So look is like a camera. It captures what is on the surface.
That's a great metaphor. Look is the camera. It takes a snapshot of what is visible, and the grammar is very simple. The structure is look plus adjective. For example, you look great. She looks nervous. The sky looks dark.
What about look like? For example, she looks like her mother.
Great question. Look like is followed by a noun. For example, she looks like her mother. That means she visually resembles her mother. Another example, it looks like rain. The sky resembles what rain usually looks like. Another example, he looks like a doctor. His appearance gives you that impression.
So the rule is look plus adjective and look like plus noun. That's pretty clear.
Yes, very clean and simple. Also, look like can be followed by a clause. For example, it looks like they're leaving. It looks like we're going to be late. This is very common in everyday conversation. In these cases, you're making a visual judgment about what is happening. For example, it looks like Biscuit ate my socks again, because the evidence is right there on the floor.
Ah, the evidence. So look is all about visible evidence.
Exactly. Now, let's move to seem. This is where things get a little more interesting. Seem is about the overall impression you get, not only from what you see, but also from your feelings, intuition, the vibe, and the atmosphere. So seem goes deeper than look.
So look uses the eyes, but seem uses the brain.
Exactly. When you say, she seems happy, you're not just seeing a smile. You're also noticing her tone of voice, her energy, the way she moves, and the things she says. Your judgment comes from many signals together.
Oh, I see. So she looks happy means I can see it, but she seems happy means I can sense it.
That's the perfect explanation. Look is seeing, seem is sensing. For example, he looks confident. He's standing tall and making eye contact. But he seems confident. Everything about him gives that impression, even if you can't explain exactly why.
So if look is the camera, then seem is like an antenna. The camera captures what you can see, the antenna picks up signals, energy, vibe, and atmosphere.
I love that explanation. The camera and the antenna. And here's something important. Seem often includes a little uncertainty. For example, she seems nice. That means, based on what I can tell, she is probably nice, but I'm not completely sure. So the statement becomes softer and more careful.
So seem is more cautious.
Exactly. Seem is the diplomatic word. For example, the food seems okay. That is softer than saying, the food looks okay. Seem gives you a little escape. You're sharing an impression, not making a strong statement.
That's actually very useful. For example, if I meet someone new, I can say, he seems nice, instead of saying, he is nice. That way, I protect myself a little.
Exactly. Your social instinct is perfect. Now, there's another very common structure with seem. It is seem to plus verb. For example, she seems to know what she's doing. He seems to enjoy his job. They seem to be having a good time. This structure describes what you sense someone is doing or feeling, and the negative form is very useful too.
For example, he doesn't seem to care. She doesn't seem to understand. It doesn't seem to be working. These sentences are a gentle way to describe problems. They sound softer and less direct. For example, I often say to clients, it doesn't seem to be working, instead of saying, it's broken. The softer version definitely feels better.
Exactly, because seem creates breathing room. There's also another structure. It is, it seems like, or it seems that. For example, it seems like she's upset. It seems that we have a problem. Both expressions introduce your impression of a situation. So in a way, seem is like an emotion reader. It goes beyond the surface. Perfectly said. Now let's talk about appear. Appear is the most formal word out of the three. In everyday conversation, people usually use look and seem much more often than appear.
So appear is the fancy one.
Yes, exactly. Appear is like the word that is wearing a suit. You will often hear it in news reports, academic writing, and professional situations. For example, the suspect appeared calm during the trial. Another example, the company appears to be in financial trouble. And another, it appears that the meeting has been canceled.
Those sentences really sound like something you would hear in a news broadcast. They sound very official.
Yes, they do. And appear has a similar feeling to seem. When you use appear, you are still sharing an impression, not a definite fact. But appear adds another feeling. It creates distance. The speaker sounds more objective and professional.
So let me try to summarize. Look is personal and visual. Seem is personal and intuitive. And appear is distant and objective.
That's a beautiful summary. You explained it perfectly. But there is another meaning of appear, and it is completely different. Appear can also mean to physically show up or become visible. For example, a rainbow appeared in the sky. Another example, she appeared at the door. And another, the sun appeared from behind the clouds.
Oh, right. Appear can also mean to show up suddenly. That's a completely different use.
Yes, totally different. For example, he appeared out of nowhere. That means he suddenly showed up. But if you say he appeared tired, that means he gave the impression of being tired. So it's the same word, but it has two very different meanings. The context tells you which meaning is correct.
Jake does that all the time. Jake always appears out of nowhere. Imagine you're sitting in a coffee shop. Suddenly, bam, Jake is standing right behind you. My heart jumps every time. 1 second he's not there, the next second he's breathing right behind your neck.
That's actually a perfect example. Jake literally appears, meaning he physically shows up. And then you might say, he appeared happy to see us. That means he gave the impression that he was happy. So the same word has two meanings and one Jake. Exactly. Now let's compare all three words together. This is where everything becomes really clear. Imagine you walk into a room. Someone is sitting quietly in the corner.
Okay, I'm imagining the situation.
Now let's start with look. You might say, she looks sad. Why? Because you can see it. Her eyes are red, her head is down. Maybe she has been crying. There is visual evidence.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now let's use seem. You might say, she seems sad. Now you are noticing more than just what you see. Maybe her energy feels low. Maybe you notice the way she is breathing. Maybe there is a heavy feeling in the room. You can feel the emotion, not just see it.
I understand.
Now let's use appear. You might say, she appears to be upset. This sounds more careful and more formal. It sounds like a professional observation. For example, maybe you are a counselor writing a report, or you are describing the situation to someone who was not there.
So let me summarize again. Look means I see it. Seem means I feel or sense it. Appear means I observe it from a distance.
Exactly. These are like three different zoom levels for the same impression. Look is a close-up shot. Seem is a medium shot. Appear is a wide shot.
3 zoom levels. I really wish my English teachers had explained it like that when I was in school. My brain would have understood it immediately. Instead, I just memorized grammar rules. And those rules disappeared from my head the next day.
That's why stories and images work better than rules. Your brain remembers pictures and examples more easily. Now let me give you some common everyday expressions using each word.
All right, go ahead. I'm ready.
Let's start with expressions using look. The first one is look forward to. This is a very common expression. For example, I'm looking forward to the weekend. Or, I look forward to hearing from you. This expression means you feel excited about something in the future.
Oh yes, I use that expression all the time in emails. For example, looking forward to working with you. It feels like a warm handshake at the end of a message.
Exactly. Another expression is look into. This means to investigate something. For example, I'll look into it. Or, can you look into this problem? This phrase is very professional and very useful.
I'll look into it is actually my favorite phrase at work. It sounds productive, but it doesn't promise anything specific.
That's called strategic vagueness. Another expression is look up to. This means to admire someone. For example, I look up to my older sister. The opposite expression is look down on. This means to feel superior to someone. For example, don't look down on people who are different.
Look up to and look down on are great examples. They create strong physical images. When you admire someone, you look up. When you judge someone, you look down. I can even feel the body posture when I say them.
Exactly. Another useful expression is look out. This means be careful. It's usually used when danger is coming. For example, look out, there's a car.
That expression always gives me a shock of adrenaline. When someone shouts, "Look out," my body reacts immediately.
Now let's move to expressions with seem. One of the most common phrases is, it seems like. For example, it seems like everyone is tired today. Or, it seems like a good idea. This phrase is very natural in conversation.
I use it seems like all the time. For example, it seems like Portland gets more rain every year.
Another word is seemingly. This is the adverb form. For example, the test was seemingly easy, but most people failed. It means on the surface something looks easy, but reality might be different.
Yes, seemingly easy but actually difficult. That describes almost every freelance project I've ever taken. The project brief seems simple, but the real work becomes a huge monster.
Another useful phrase is, it seems to me. This is a polite way to give your opinion. For example, it seems to me that we need a different approach. This sounds very diplomatic. Instead of saying, we need a different approach, which sounds more direct and commanding.
That's the difference between a sledgehammer and a pillow. The message is the same, but the impact is completely different. When I hear "it seems to me," I feel relaxed, but the direct version makes me feel like an argument is coming.
Now let's talk about expressions with appear. One expression is appear out of nowhere. We already talked about this with Jake. It means to suddenly show up. For example, the cat appeared out of nowhere and scared me. Biscuit does that too. You're sitting on the couch peacefully. Suddenly, there is a corgi head on your lap. No sound, no warning, she just materializes. Another expression is, it appears that. This is the formal version of it seems like. For example, it appears that the report is incomplete, or it appears that there has been a misunderstanding. These sentences sound very professional and formal.
Yes, that definitely sounds like email language. For example, you might write in an email, "Dear team, it appears that we need to reschedule." But honestly, nobody talks like that at home.
That's very true. There is also a famous saying, appearances can be deceiving. It means that what you see on the outside does not always show what is happening on the inside.
Oh, I really love that saying. Appearances can be deceiving. Sometimes you look at someone and think you understand them, but in reality, there is so much about them that you cannot see. For example, the quiet person in the office might actually be the most interesting person in the room. Or the person who looks fine and happy might secretly be struggling inside.
That's a very deep thought, and it's also very true. Your eyes only tell you part of the story. That is why we need all three words: look for what we see, seem for what we sense or feel, appear for what we carefully observe from a distance.
Can we practice now? Give me some situations so I can try using these words.
Okay, here's one. Imagine you walk into a restaurant. Describe the restaurant using look, seem, and appear.
All right, let me try. First, the restaurant looks beautiful. I can see exposed brick walls, candles on every table, and soft lighting. Next, the atmosphere seems romantic. When you walk inside, you can feel the warm and cozy feeling in the room. And finally, the chef appears to be very experienced. You can tell this by the way the staff members move around him and follow his instructions.
That was perfect. You used 3 different verbs for 3 different types of observation. Look for what you see, seem for what you feel, appear for a careful and thoughtful judgment.
Let's try another one. Give me a situation with a person.
Okay, imagine you just interviewed a job candidate. Describe that person.
All right. First impression, she looked professional. She had a nice outfit, good posture, and a firm handshake. During the interview, she seemed very confident. She answered every question smoothly and made great eye contact. However, I might also say she appeared to have less experience than her resume suggested. Some of her examples felt a little weak or thin.
That explanation was excellent. And notice something interesting. The level of formality increased naturally. Look was used for the first visual impression. Seem was used for the overall feeling during the conversation, and appear was used for a careful, analytical judgment. It's like you are changing the zoom level of your observation.
Yes, that's exactly how it feels. Look feels very close. Seem feels like stepping a little back, and appear feels like observing everything from a higher place, like standing on an observation deck.
Here's another practical tip. Look and seem are mostly used in everyday conversation. The word appear is used more often in writing, formal speech, news, or professional situations. So if you only remember 2 words, focus on look and seem. Those 2 words will cover about 90% of daily conversations.
That actually makes things easier. So look and seem are for daily life, and appear is mainly for formal situations.
Exactly. Now we have a quick question for everyone listening. Look around you right now. What does your room look like? And how does your day seem so far? Try describing it out loud using the words look and seem.
Even if nobody else is listening, just say it. Your brain really benefits from hearing your own voice. Practice helps you remember.
Now, let's do a vocabulary review.
Yes, let's go through all the key points.
First, look. Look describes a visual impression. It is about what you see with your eyes. Examples: you look tired. She looks happy. That cake looks delicious. The pattern is look plus adjective. Think of look as a camera.
Look is about what your eyes tell you. It describes surface, appearance, and visual evidence. It's like taking a snapshot.
Look like describes visual resemblance. It is followed by a noun. Examples: she looks like her mother. It looks like rain. He looks like a doctor. You are comparing what you see to something familiar.
Look like means eyes plus comparison. You're asking, what does it resemble?
Third, seem. Seem describes an overall impression. It includes feelings, vibes, and energy, not just what you see. Examples: she seems happy. He seems nervous. It seems like a good idea. Think of seem as an antenna.
Seem is about sensing, not only seeing. Your brain collects many signals and creates a judgment. It also sounds softer and more careful than look.
Fourth, seem to. This is used when you sense someone's action or behavior. Examples: she seems to know the answer. He doesn't seem to care. It doesn't seem to be working. This is a gentle way to describe something.
Doesn't seem to is especially useful. It's one of the softest ways to point out a problem.
Fifth, appear. Appear is the most formal and objective word. Examples: he appears to be calm. It appears that the report is wrong. She appeared confident. It sounds professional and careful.
Yes, appear is the formal one. It's like a wide camera shot. You use it in reports, news, and professional writing.
Sixth, appear meaning to show up. This is a different meaning. Examples: a rainbow appeared. She appeared at the door. Jake appeared out of nowhere. It means to become visible or arrive suddenly.
Same word, but different meaning. The context tells you which meaning is correct. For example, he appeared tired versus he appeared at the door.
Seventh, the zoom levels. Look is the close-up shot. Seem is the medium shot. Appear is the wide shot.
Always match the zoom level to the type of observation.
Eighth, look forward to. This expression shows anticipation and excitement about the future. Example: I'm looking forward to the weekend, or looking forward to hearing from you.
This is one of the most common English expressions. People use it in emails, conversations, and everyday life.
Ninth, seemingly. This adverb means on the surface or apparently. Examples: the test was seemingly easy. He was seemingly calm. It suggests that reality might be different.
Yes, it adds a little doubt. What you see may not be the whole story.
And finally, number 10, appearances can be deceiving. What you see on the outside does not always match what is inside.
It's a reminder that look, seem, and appear give impressions, not facts. So we should stay curious and open-minded.
All right, that was our discussion about look, seem, and appear. Now we have a question for you.
Tell us in the comments, how do you look today? And how does your week seem so far? Try using both words in your answer.
We really enjoy reading your comments. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who is learning English.
We'll see you tomorrow with another easy English conversation.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.